This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime. In association with Micromax. Nothing like anything.
What's it like to be studying in a truly mixed classroom, to have your peers who are from different parts of the world with just so many different experiences? That's what we're looking at today here in Melbourne at the Deakin University campus. Tell me, what brought you here to Deakin, and how does someone identify what they want to study and where? How much time does that really take?
I came to Deakin because I am from Colombia, so I wanted a very different experience in this side of the world. I want a mix of cultures. I want multicultural experiences. So that's why I came to Deakin, to find that.
And what's it been like?
Great.
Yeah.
Best experience ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I guess that really is important, to get out of your comfort zone, try something new, and what better place to do it than a completely different part of the world, and perhaps for many of us even a different hemisphere.
Well, for me, the experience was kind of amazing. I'm studying this campus, the Bold campus. I also went to the Geelong campus, which is kind of far away from here, but that campus is near the ocean. That's why it's an amazing one. I was sitting in the library, out of the window, like 100 meters away from the window is the ocean.
Right.
Well, that's an amazing place.
What a great place to study. What a classroom that would really make. How did you decide? What are you studying here, actually, first and foremost?
I'm studying software development and computer science at Deakin University. And in India, I have studied diploma in IT. And after with the 3 years of break, I decided I should go back to IT again. And as all the university in Melbourne, they have all the IT courses for 4 years, but Deakin has for 3 years. So it's working well for me, so I can complete my study faster.
Right.
But
you were quite clear that you did want to study this, and you did want to sort of
pursue
your academics further in
Yeah.
this field.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can just get the mic at the back. What's the easiest part about being here? What's the one thing that you really love? And if I were to ask you the one thing that you could change?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know, there's a lot of things I like about Deakin. I think it's how diverse it is here. Deakin University is really well grounded with international students and local students, and we integrate well together. Something I'd like to change, maybe this is based on policy and government, but finances would be a big one.
Right. You are getting some cheer for that. I'll just come back to that in a bit. But also with us, Simon Wilmot. He's a senior lecturer, creative arts, film and television. Simon, thanks for being with us here. Right. You've also got some India experience, I've been told. You've spent some time there. Tell me, I'm not sure if you really had an insight into how institutions really work in India, or just how important it is for families to get the best education, for many families to get the best education to their children. We put everything into it, every last rupee that families have, and often, homes are the only homes that families have are mortgaged. At a time like this, of course, an international education, and now the more number of Indian students are going out than ever before. In the backdrop of all of that, how important do you think an international education is going to be for countries like India in the years ahead?
Well, I think it's important for all students to have a world view in whatever their field is. It's not just Indian students, and so Indian students will be competing in that wider world with students who have got a view that's about connecting themselves in their profession and their interest with the wider world. So for Indian students to join that wider world, they need to have some connections and some association in some ways in the international sphere. Some professions more than others, certainly, but the global movements of knowledge and skills are such that people need to kind of get that connection. So even for students who study at home, in the end, their institutions need to provide them with a connection internationally. And so although Deakin values its international students for the education we're providing them to go back home. We also value them in our community to help international and connect with our local students as well, so to build an international community.
Right. Well, also with us, Melissa Graham, Senior Lecturer, School of Health and Social Development. Melissa, there's the one thing that we keep talking about, especially in India, about the need for an international education, and is often the learning that happens outside the classrooms. It's almost become a cliche, but in India now, we're trying to underscore the fact that it's great to know your subject, it's great to have domain knowledge, but there's so much that true campus experience should offer, which is, the point that people are making about friendships, about expanding your horizons and all of that. How key a role do you believe that these play when it comes to sort of shaping the student and the student experience, especially looking at the times that we are now headed towards?
Look, I think the experiences that students have while they're at universities are key to their future success. I think they build skills, I think they make friendships, I think they get such an amazing international experience. Our classrooms are diverse. They get to bring with them their experiences from their home countries. They get to share that with people from other countries. They get to take all of those experiences into their future careers, and I think that's really important. So not only are they learning theories and skills and practical applications, they're getting a life education as well, and that's really important in a university degree.
Right. And do you think that students have begun to value that a lot more? Like, this is a generation of students that really values that more than perhaps, say, that happened earlier?
I think so, because I think people are seeing that education is international, and the world is now an international global market. So I think they are starting to see it. We're seeing rises in international students, and we're seeing a rise in domestic students who want international experiences, and that's so important.
Right. It really is not a cliche to say that this really seems to be the best time to be a student, really, in any part of the world, especially on an international campus. When we say things like a global experience, an international campus, what does it really mean to you? You are here. You're part of this.
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
Actually, I come from China, and my university in Beijing, which is called Capital Medical University, has a cooperative program with Deakin University, which means that both universities send students and staff to study and learn from each other, which is a really great experience for all of us, because we can learn from the different educational system, and also the student can exchange their experience and things, values from each other. They can learn from each other,
Right.
which is really good.
Right. And what's the one thing that you've sort of found while you've been here which has taken you aback and perhaps you were not prepared for? Besides the food. I've heard the food. I've heard the food. You can add the food on, but what else?
Basically, it's a diversity. So
Yeah.
you learn a few cultural values from different diversities. Since I'm from India, so I have friends from different parts of the world, like South America, Colombia, even from China. So they have a different culture, and that's basically what we're learning from, apart from the food. I can say.
Right. And is there one thing that when you talk about learning, is there one thing that you've learned that you could perhaps share with us about someone from some other part of the world, or be it a skill or a learning?
I've developed a skill of cooking, which I
see.
never used to do in India.
I see.
And apart from it, a bit of each language, from Chinese.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that's
That really is great. Language skills are really underrated. For any student from anywhere to settle in, of course, on a new campus takes its own time. But of course, the fact that there are so many from, who've left homes which are miles, thousands and thousands of miles away, I would imagine that there's sort of some bonding, irrespective of which country you come from. I can see sort of lots of people from the same part of the world, but there must be sort of some bonding that leads to the fact that wherever you are, and you are connected, I guess, by two things: the fact that you're a student here to learn, and everyone can speak English, and the rest sort of will fall into place.
Yeah, so when you come at Deakin, so you create new bonding. So I live in a house with Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, and people from all over the world. So you create friendship which lasts for a long time.
I think you can only do that outside of those three countries.
Yeah.
You cannot do it when you're in any of those countries.
Yeah,
yes.
you cannot do that.
Especially if there's a cricket match that night. Yes. Yes.
And we absolutely enjoy the cricket match.
Yeah.
All of us sit together to see the match between India, Pakistan, or India, Bangladesh.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no stress. There's
no
tension.
stress.
Yeah. We could, of course, learn more. But what's the one thing that you believe sort of staying in this kind of the space that you are, besides, of course, the classroom, but this is also a personal space that you have, which you're sharing so closely. What's the one thing that you've learned, or what's the one thing that you enjoy the most?
I guess it's mixing practicality with theoretical knowledge. So I'm working on a project with IBM and Deakin. So it's called the Watson and Cognitive Technology.
Okay.
So I guess it gives a broader experience of how theory can be applied in the practical world.
I see.
Which you cannot ever learn in India while you're studying.
Okay.
I guess that's the biggest difference.
Okay. What about you? The one thing that you believe that you're getting here, which you perhaps missed, or you didn't even know that it was on offer, but you believe it's going to sort of enrich your entire experience?
I think for me, the entire experience of coming to Australia, and I mean, it was a life-changing experience, and so I believe I've changed as a person, I've improved as a person. So it's changed the way I look at people, the way I talk to people, the way I behave, the way the way I study, the way I live. It's completely changed drastically. So I think I've been a better person what I was back in India. So
give me an example.
Well, being on time is one thing that I've learned.
I see.
I've learned cooking skills.
That is quite honest, yes. We in India could use that.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
could just learn to follow, yeah.
And also the small things, I mean, in India, we just say, can you do this for me? But then words like please and thank you, I mean, those some etiquettes, that's what is very valued here, I believe. And, that's what I've learned as well, I mean, among one of the many things.
Right. That, of course, both being very important points. Simon, we were speaking to some students earlier, and they said, we were asking them on what they would have to say to all those who perhaps want to be in their place, want to be present in these classrooms. And among the very interesting things I thought, that interesting points that were made was, when you come into any international campus anywhere, just come in with an open mind, be ready for cultural differences, and come in saying that, yes, and I will work my way around it. It's not rocket science, but you just have to come in with an open mind. Do you believe that we are underscoring that enough, keeping these cultural disparities in mind and learning to take everyone along?
Well, yes. I mean, the education field is one that took on internationalisation and globalisation a long time ago. It's not a new thing, really. And so the knowledge itself is not owned by any kind of one culture or one place or one culture in particular. And so education is a natural way in which you get multicultural, cross-cultural, transnational kind of conversations and connections. So it's a kind of natural place in which to develop intercultural understandings and discussions. It's always a challenge for new entrants as they come in, but that's part of the learning experience. And we learn more from mistakes than successes. So the challenges, those hiccups, those overcoming hurdles are critical for growth and learning.
Right. I guess that's also important to remember, that you will make mistakes and you will learn, as long as you don't make them again. We haven't heard from some people at the back.
I think it really is the international experiences and the push that Deakin does do for you to actually get some international knowledge and some international background. I mean, during my undergrad, Deakin supported me and I was selected to go and intern at the United States Congress, and that's amazing, not only for an Australian, but for anyone, that's at Deakin University. And I got to intern for 8 weeks at the Senate and learn so much about the American political system. And I don't think I would have gotten that support and that care and that preparation, I think, from any other university. So being at Deakin, you also get the international experience of having so many international students around you. When I was doing my master's, I had so many international students in my class, and just that ability to actually learn from them and to also, provide your experiences and for everyone to actually learn from one another. I think that's one of the best things about Deakin.
Right. The point that you make about the experience that you had in the US, we're increasingly in a space where student mobility is now very important, isn't it, Melissa? We're looking at students sort of going out, putting themselves out there, getting the kind of experience that they wouldn't have got a few years ago. How key do you think that is going to be in the years ahead?
I think all students should have an international experience during their education, whether that's you decide to come to Deakin to undertake your studies, or whether you decide to, as a Deakin student, go somewhere else for a semester abroad or on a study tour. As an example, we just had a study tour come back from our school. We had a public health study tour in India, and that will continue to run. We have one that goes to Cambodia. We have students who go out on their practicum placements. Last year in India, this year in Nepal, Cambodia and Indonesia. So international experiences are a huge part of the learning process for students, whether that's in the classroom with a diversity of students or whether that's elsewhere out in the world.
Right. Anyways, is good. Are you among those students who've been out, want to go out? Yeah. What is the thought like?
Have you been
on one of these programs?
No, actually I haven't, but I'm really keen to do that.
So you're one of those who's hoping to seize the opportunity when it comes along?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I have already connected with the faculty about the exchange program, like one trimester in Europe countries. That's definitely amazing, especially as I'm a nursing student. It's it's really, we don't have that much opportunity as like a law student or business student, so it's really unique one for me in Deakin.